My ignorant preferred my adopted brother over me, so 15 years later I abandoned them. I was 8 years old when for some reason my parents decided they wanted to adopt. The boy they adopted was 1 year younger than me but was very demanding and knew how to always get his way. He was a shrewd mastermind and began to isolate me from my own family. Let's call him Stephen. Despite our family growing up poor, Stephen always made demands to my parents and they met them. I would never get a gift on Christmas or Thanksgiving, but he would get his favorite new toy or a Game Boy. I used to get really frustrated and yell, "Why does he get gifts but I don't?" And my parents would always reply the same way, "Stephen grew up in a rough environment so he deserves better." Stephen knew this and took advantage of it. My favorite place was a local pizza place whereas his was McDonald's. And I don't know how but he always convinced my parents to take us to McDonald's. The final straw was on my 16th birthday. I couldn't even believe what had happened and still think about it to this day. It had been years since I properly celebrated my birthday with my friends because I would be too embarrassed to show them our house. This year however my parents finally decided to splurge on me and planned a party for me. We were hosting at my favorite pizza place and all my friends from school were invited. Leading up to the party Stephen was pouting a lot and throwing a lot of tantrums. I should have known those were signs and he would do something to mess up my day. Well, my birthday comes around and everything is going perfectly. That's until they bring out the cake. It is a chocolate cake. I hate chocolate but Stephen loves it. When I asked what was going on, my parents replied Stephen's birthday is just next month so we decided today can be a celebration for the both of you. He said he already talked to you about this and said you are happy to include him. I was so pissed and yelled at Stephen, "How dare you lie and ruin my day? Couldn't you have let me get just one day for myself?" I was also embarrassed because this was in front of my friends. Stephen acted all cute and innocent and replied, "But we talked about this and you agreed. Why are you yelling at me, dear brother? We had definitely not talked about this or anything at all." My parents decided that I suddenly didn't deserve a party because of my attitude and kicked me out. Yup, they kicked me out of my own birthday party. I had to sit in the car and watch through the window as Stephen cut the cake that was supposed to be for me. My friends tried to express their disapproval but they were also kicked out. I decided then that I wouldn't stay with this toxic family a day more than I have to. I talked to my professor and he went a bit lenient on me in class so I could work hard on my job and save money. I saved up for 2 years. One of my friends had a relative that owned some real estate and was able to lend me a 1-bedroom apartment for cheap in a nearby city. I had also secured a scholarship for a college near my apartment. I was all set to move out the day I turned 18. Well, the big day comes around and I'm slightly nervous. I was worried that if they threw a big party for me and made it up to me I would forgive them. Guess what, they didn't even wish me a happy birthday. It was a holiday so I lazed around waiting for someone to remember what day it is. Eventually I just gave up and went to my room to finish packing. I wasn't taking too much with me so I had just 2 bags that I could easily carry. I gave a call to one of my friend's older brother to come pick me up and made my way downstairs. Everyone was shocked that I was going somewhere with filled bags. I simply told them that I'm moving out. They freaked out and yelled at me for not discussing this with them. I brought up the fact that they had forgotten my birthday, which was in fact today, and that I'm 18 now and can do whatever I want. They said to me in an annoyed voice, "We didn't forget anything. We will celebrate your birthday together with Stephen next month. Now go back to your room. You're being grounded for a week." I was dumbfounded. I was turning 18 while Stephen was turning 17. Mine was a major milestone in life, and yet they decided that they would give their attention to a son that wasn't even theirs biologically. I showed them the middle finger and told them that an adult can do whatever he wants to. They realized I was serious and my mother started crying. "How can you abandon your loving family? How can you do this to us?" she asked. I told her the truth, my family went away when I was 8. They are the ones that abandoned me. They had a new son named Stephen and I was left in the trash can. After saying that I just ran out crying. They chased after me but the car was ready and I drove off before they could catch me. I blocked and deleted their numbers from my phone. They had no way to contact me and I was finally free. But that wasn't the end of it. The best part came 5 years later. Update: my ignorant parents preferred my adopted brother over me so 10 years later I abandoned them. Part 2. They chased after me but the car was ready and I drove off before they could catch me. I blocked and deleted their numbers from my phone. They had no way to contact me and I was finally free. But that wasn't the end of it. The best part came 5 years later. I am still living in that cheap 1-bedroom apartment and doing well in college. I'm about to graduate top of my class and have several job opportunities lined up. One day I got a call from an unknown number. I decided to answer it and it was my mother. She was crying and wailing and said she's been searching for me all this time. She had got my number from the friend that helped me move. After 5 years I had kinda moved on so I was more sympathetic with her. We didn't talk much on the phone but agreed to meet in person. I refused to give them my address so we met at my favorite pizza place. I had to travel back in my car but I didn't want to alert them even to the name of my city. She brought my dad with her and they asked me how I was doing etc. Seeing as the conversation is just going in circles I tell them that I'm waiting for their apology. They both looked at me with a blank look and say, "Apology? Apology for what?" Then they proceeded to explain how I am the one who should apologize for leaving their house without a notice. I didn't get angry this time and just kept listening. My mom explained how Stephen had asked for a car for his 20th birthday and they had bought it for him but now they were in debt. So they basically contacted me just to ask me for money they could spend it on that damn Stephen again. Well, I had made a lot of contacts in college and there was this one guy that could print counterfeit currency in mass numbers. I told my parents I'll send them the money in cash and they hugged me and said that I was doing the right thing. They insinuated that this would be considered my apology and I just smiled in return. Next week I sent them thousands of dollars, except the notes were fake. I did this because I had a premonition about what they would do with this money. And I was right. They gave it all to Stephen, who decided it would be a great idea to take that money to a casino. While my parents didn't suffer any consequences, the casino had Stephen arrested and he was put in jail. I blocked my parents' number once again and am currently enjoying a spa weekend with my beautiful girlfriend. Jail versus spa, it's pure bliss. My girlfriend is depressed because she misses her ex. We, 25 male and 22 female, have been dating for around 7 months now. You can check my post history for a more in-depth backstory, but basically she still has feelings for her ex, Tom. To my knowledge, she hasn't done anything or talked to him in at least 2 months. Last week, someone mentioned him to her at work, and she got really sad. When I asked her what was wrong, she basically told me that she felt unwanted and that nobody loved her, even though I told her how beautiful she is and how much I love her every day. She says it's more the fact that she doesn't like the idea that someone would forget about her so easily. I hug her and tell her everything's gonna be okay. Fast forward to last night. She starts getting sad again, and I tell her to be honest and tell me what's happening. She says that she still misses and has feelings for Tom. And how even though she loves me and wants to marry me, she gets sad because she feels unwanted. She told me she wrote up a text to him looking for closure, but apparently decided not to send it because he might not respond. I told her that she can always talk to me about these things and that I would help her through this. I asked if she needed space, and she said no, that's the last thing she wants. She wants me to be with her while she works through this. I'm feeling really conflicted. I love this girl, but it's so painful to me that after all the time and love I've given her, she's still sad because of her ex. It just hurts knowing that nothing I do will be enough. I feel like I'm pouring my heart into her, but it's just leaking out, if that makes sense. I don't want to leave her but feel empty and sad. Is it really worth working through things with her, even though it hurts me? How do I approach this situation without disrespecting her feelings? Other than cheating, what secret do you keep from your so to prevent upsetting them? My wife has a beautiful heart. I jokingly call her a Disney princess because any animal that she comes across she has to talk to and greet. She has cried by seeing a dead raccoon on the side of the road before. At the time, I was working a day shift and she was working a swing shift. I had a busy day, but I saw she sent me some pictures of a young doe that was eating in our front yard. She seemed thrilled. I came home and saw the same deer. Dead. On my goddamn porch. I felt like I started to hear the first 48 theme playing as I realized I have 6 hours to get rid of this thing before my wife gets home and her world is shattered. I called my local city authorities thinking they wouldn't want a dead animal in the middle of town. Turns out, they couldn't care less. I called some local raptor shelters to see if they could take a stat donation, but it turns out the dead deer business is booming and they didn't have a need for donations at this time, especially in the next 6 hours. Frustrated, I called my dad to vent and get advice on what to do. His response is only a "hold on, bud, I'll be there in 15 minutes. I go back inside to take care of the dogs and within the next 15 minutes I see my dad back his huge truck into my backyard, has the tailgate down and is knocking on my door with a pair of nitrile gloves on and another pair in hand for me. It was starting to get dark out, but we had that thing loaded up and found a special place to, dispose it. We made it back with 20 minutes to spare before my wife got home. I haven't told my wife because I think it would either break her heart, or creep her out at how efficiently my dad can dump a body. Anyway, wifey thinks her dear friend is alive and well, and totally not at the bottom of a ravine.
8 for telling my parents I won't look after them when they are old or give them money or support my brother. I, 39F, have a brother, 43 meters. My parents are, 64F, and 68 meters. My brother has no education beyond high school. He barely lasted a year. The job was through a friend of our father,